Hello, and welcome to day 5 of me actually committing to delivering you channeled spirit messages. And this brings me nervousness. I don't know why. It's absolutely out of my comfort zone. Even though I work on TikTok and other social media platforms, bringing this daily video to YouTube is out of my comfort zone. So excuse me if you see me looking uncomfortable, because I'm actually doing something different myself this year. And that is actually your channeled spirit message. If this post, if this video has crossed you, I absolutely believe that light workers are raising their vibration to draw those to them that are meant to hear the messages. I see it. I've been drawn to channel messages and they've been right. So I absolutely know the algorithm is an energetic system that works as much as it does with energy as it does with the posting. What is your spirit message? What is your channeled message? I really contemplated this one as I am taking a day off today and I'm relaxing. And well, actually I did some work this morning, but not compared to what I normally do each day. I did a reading. And Spirit said to me, the channeled message that you have to bring is to talk about the feminine energy, but also to talk about how to incorporate the feminine energy into rest. And I think this is something that nobody does naturally. And people who think they are resting naturally are probably in shutdown. They are probably going between being active and then shutting down. And shutdown looks like binge watching TV, scrolling your phone. That's not rest. Rest is actually connecting to yourself. It's allowing space to rest your nervous system. It's allowing yourself to connect to what you think and feel. Reflect on what you think and feel. I truly believe that the energy that's being brought in this year, and actually since COVID has been starting to bring in, is the energy of the feminine energy. The energy of being. The energy of experiencing. The energy of healing the wounded feminine that comes from our mothers. There is a long history of wounded females. I'm feeling that sun. It's almost like the sun is beaming on me and I'm not even changing it. Because it's about the message and not what I look like. Healing the wounded female. As women, we have fought for the right to be seen and heard. As women, we have fought to be respected by men, to be tried to be treated as an equal. And what this has seen is, and actually, I don't want to discount men, but I feel like this post predominantly is for women. And I don't know why. And if it is men that are crossing this post, then maybe it's connected to the divine feminine within you, because every man has a divine feminine. And the divine feminine energy is again the energy of being, of experiencing. Men have mother wounds too. Men have mother wounds of feeling disconnected from their mothers, feeling as if they've got to protect their mothers, feeling the wrath that some mothers unfortunately have passed down to the boys because of the pain from the husbands. And this is a very real thing. So I feel since COVID, feminine energy has been called to be healed, working on the wound that we have carried from our mothers, the wound that we've got to always be busy, always strive to do more. Be a good mum, good dad, good parent, good person. Show up for work. Do what it is you need to do in this life. But then we're lacking downtime. We're lacking creativity. We are lacking connection to Mother Earth. We're in a perfectionism. We're in this masculine energy of wanting to create more goals, be the best, do more, experience more. And people who aren't able to do that are in shutdown, but still shaming themselves for thinking they're not good enough because they're not doing enough. They're not being more. They're not earning money. So whether you are in masculine mode of the doing or you're caught in the head of the masculine mode, it's still the predominant energy that's driving you to shame yourself. And how we start healing the feminine wounding is we realise that we're a human being and not a human doing. And we will always live to our means. So the more money you earn, the more money you waste. And you will always believe, well, I can't lessen my hours at work. I can't change my job. I can't do this, because you're defined by the money you earn. But if you lost it all tomorrow, you'd have to. And people realise that when they do lose it, or when something does happen that changes their money, that actually, wow, I have been able to survive. Because we are here and we will survive through everything. Because that's what humans are here to do. They try to thrive and overcome. And if you look at everything that you've ever been through, you'll realise how true this is. Because you would have never believed you would have been able to get through any of what you've been through. If you were told today that some of the things that you'd been through you were going to have to face, the fear of what you was about to face would paralyse you, would lead you to believe you can't get through it. So that's why when we think about the things we're fearful of that are going to happen, they feel horrendous and we feel like we'll never get through them. And this is not saying that they're not going to be horrendous or fearful, but it's saying your score sheet of getting through everything is pretty high. So we have to, as humans, it doesn't matter how much you want to fight or not have to go through certain things, life will give you things out of your control. And you have to learn how to navigate those things. And I think that comes in healing. But I feel that people are struggling to navigate their massive stresses because they're creating massive stresses for themselves by believing they've got to always be busy, always doing more, earning more money, or working more, or buying more presents, creating more experiences. How many people, and I was such a slave to this and have to check on this quite regularly with myself, you're busy all week with work and children, and then come the weekend, instead of using one of those days to relax or having a simpler weekend, you're out creating more memories. You've got to cram in as much as you can to feel worthy, to feel like life has some meaning. But life doesn't have meaning in anything external to you. It really doesn't. External things can create experiences which can create a feeling of meaning internally, but that comes from you actually really learning to connect to the experience. Most people are doing these experiences, going to see Santa, going on the Santa train, got to go for lunch, got to do this, got to do that. But they're not connecting or enjoying the experiences because it's just another thing they've got to cram in their life as a tick list to feel like they are fulfilled, for you to feel like you are fulfilled. Or you won't go to lunch, or you won't do these things because I'm too busy with work, But you're thinking that the more you get on top of the work that you're doing, the less stressed you'll feel. But that isn't true. That's a cycle you're trapped in. Because the more you try to keep going and staying on top of things, the more things come. And for instance, you got a day off tomorrow and you say to yourself, I'm not doing anything tomorrow. I'm going to relax. And then tomorrow comes and you just start hoovering. And then you start cleaning. And then you start doing the washing. You think, oh, I'll just get this done and then I'll relax after. And then the day's going and you're like, well, if I get it done, I'll feel much better when I relax because everything's done. But then by the time you're finished, it's night. And you're like, fuck, I've got no day again. Oh, well, at least I've got what I needed done. What your brain has done. Because your brain and your body is not used to relaxing because it's not been taught to. It feels unproductive, lazy. Your brain creates reasons that it needs to keep going. Your brain creates jobs for you that you need to keep doing because it creates this, well, if I just get that done, I'll feel better. But the truth is, the children then come home from school and it gets messy again. You've washed up and it feels like you've never cleaned. You do a load of washing and then suddenly another load is there. You're never on top of everything. And if you are on top of things, it's very brief because life goes on. Things happen, things change, people do things. So this brain's way of keeping you trapped in this cycle of productivity, of goals, of getting things done, It's keeping you in the masculine. It's keeping your body and your nervous system activated for the next thing it's got to fix, sort, find, do, the next problem it has to face. You can never feel connected when you're in that state. The art of coming in the feminine. Like today, I'm going for lunch. Once upon a time, I'd be like, no, I'm too busy, I've got work. Well, I've always got work. I've always got things that I could be doing because I work from home. I work weekends, But the truth is, how can I connect to friends if I don't spend time with friends? But if I spend time with friends because I feel I have to, it's another thing I've got to tick off the list. But if I spend time with friends because actually I really want to do this, so sometimes I have to say no because I've got work. And I really do need to get it, but we'll arrange it another time. And there's sometimes I say, actually, my workload isn't as much. It can wait. I'm going to go. Because your brain will always create reasons as to why it doesn't want to bond. And I'm being honest with you here. The brain's wiring through systematic beliefs that society has created, through wounding that people have experienced, has led people to isolate themselves more, to pull away from bonding, seeing the problems in other people, seeing the problems in themselves, feeling overwhelmed with everything they're expected to do. But the expectation generally comes from yourself. And this keeps you in a perpetuating cycle of hate for your life, mundaneness, autopilot, frustration, tiredness, and then always looking forward to next weekend or the week after, or I'm looking forward to summer, because all your brain feels good when it's creating a plan it hasn't yet reached, because it makes you feel as if you're going to enjoy it sometime. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that holiday I booked, but you never get around to booking it. I'm really looking forward to summer because I'm going to really make this my hot girl summer. But then all summer you're working. You're not naturally programmed to create time out because society doesn't want you to be naturally programmed to create time out, because that's not what society thrives off. Society thrives off people pleasers, overworkers, overachievers, perfectionisms in people. It thrives off people being sick. So this is why you have to allow people like myself who've really done the work and wants to help empower you along the journey of connection with me and others like me to understand there is a different way. That being busy all of the time is your brain's way of stopping you from having to connect to yourself. It's your brain's way of stopping you from connecting to your body and feeling uncomfortable feelings. But we have to feel uncomfortable feelings. Had to be that. I'm not even editing it out. I'm not leaning into perfectionism and expectations of myself. I'm putting this out. Those that will be drawn to listen to it will get something from it. I'm trusting. And I think that's something we need to learn from. Let's scrap this perfectionism of everything has to be delivered a certain way. And this is why people don't start YouTube, don't start podcasts, because this world is making you believe that unless you start on a footing of some form of perfection, that everything has to look pristine, clean and done, that you have no place in this work or any work. But that's not true. As humans, we love people who are unapologetically themselves, who make mistakes and own it, who take accountability, who say, guess what, this is me and my rawest. And if that's just the smallest message you need to take, bloody take it. If the rest is not what you want to take that. Be unapologetically you. Show up in your rawest form. Hear yourself, so you're not necessarily unregulated, and disconnected, but stop apologising for who you are. Stop thinking that the way you have to show up to the world has to be some form of perfect. And I know it's not as easy as just stop, but sit and reflect with this video. I have such a love for you guys as humans, because I am one. I'm always talking as I'm not a human, but actually, I don't feel a human. I feel like a real spiritual person in a human body, I'm not going to lie. But we all have a calling of some kind. And this is mine, and yours is different. But to ever get to your calling, and your calling could be motherhood, fatherhood, your calling could be really learning to embrace your life. The calling is different for everyone. It's not some grand calling that unless you have one, you're not good enough. No, that's not how it works. My autistic daughter's calling is art. And I was talking to her about this today. She is as an autistic person, knows that she's not going to be able to work full time under somebody else because emotionally she deals with things differently. She gets triggered a bit easier, and everyone has different degrees of what they can and can't heal and work on. We can't become a carbon copy of each other. So she knows that to some degree she's got to lean into who she is, art, working for herself, doing something. And I think we need to encourage ourselves, but that doesn't come without slowing down. You'll never lean into who you are or even find or connect to actually what the real meaning of life is unless you give space to it. Taking those walks. And you might think it's all boring, and your body won't feel comfortable when it starts relaxing, when it starts doing these things, because your body, it's an energy difference. Your energy is used to being like this and going and doing. So initially you're going to feel like life is boring. Life is now shit. But that's the same as when you leave a toxic boyfriend and you go for a calmer boyfriend. You question whether that calmer boyfriend is right for you because it's boring, it's not right. And people run. But the truth is, it's because the energy feels different. And you just need to become attuned to that energy. Because when you are used to chaos and chaotic energy and being busy all of the time, of course it's going to feel different and uncomfortable. It's not going to feel right. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It means it just doesn't feel right because you're not used to it. It doesn't make it wrong. When I met my healthy partner and I felt bored and life was shit, and because I was so used to chaotic, toxic partners and being toxic myself, I had to sit with and connect to Spirit and Spirit said to me, peace feels like boredom initially because you're not used to it. Peace feels like boredom initially because you're not used to it, and you will look for chaos. You may even create chaos, and you may attract chaos if you don't realize that actually that's what you're potentially doing. And chaos can come in the sense of drama, can come in the sense of always something going wrong. Something's always going wrong in my life. It's how I show up to it that determines how much it impacts me, because something's always going wrong in everybody's life. Some people's lives are harder than others, granted, but everyone it's just their perspective and how they show up to it. And one of the things that I learned in healing, which is a whole nother video, how you show up to the stresses in your life will determine how stressful those things in your life are. Because if you believe that everything's shit and everything's always going to be shit, everything will feel shit because you'll look at it through a lens of everything's shit. But if you start to change that lens, which is why I'm bringing these guided videos, these channeled messages, because these will help you change your lens. It'll help you evoke energy in that's different. It will help you see things differently, because when we listen to these things, it can really light a spark in us to go, actually, I want to do something different. This is the year for you to slow down, to experience things at a slower pace. Drop some balls. Doesn't mean you're less than or not good enough. I'm hoping this video has brought you a message to some degree. I'm going to go ready now. I'm going to go and enjoy my lunch, and I shall see you tomorrow.